you can see that from this studio here, we have seen what's happening in Magarini, we have seen what's happening in Malaba and all over. And Kenyans, everybody's able to see what's happening, and therefore Kenyans are now more enlightened. They know what's happening. And in this time and age, I think rigging elections will be a tall order for anybody who wants to do that.
And as you can see, those are live images from Mbeere North. That is former Attorney General Justin Muturi.
But my question then is,
as he's ready to address Kenyans there.
But my question then is, allow me, because we're here to do permutations and to help citizens think and understand. I wonder, and it's something I often ask. Let's get the answer from Daktari.
Let's go to Mbeere North and listen to what Justin Muturi is saying.
In some places, I've received some very interesting stories that young men and young girls are walking to polling centers, holding their ID cards, and saying, now, whatever it takes, we must cast our ballot. And I think, for me, I think so far it is encouraging. I have no cause to complain. Yeah.
You're saying so far so good?
So far so good.
Then immediately after you cast your ballot, you had indicated you'll be moving around the constituency. Is this still the case? At what time is your candidate also, the DP candidate, expected to vote, and where?
Well, my candidate is registered in his ward, Momenji. I understand at Karambari Primary School. That's where I'll be voting. He had indicated to me last night when we patent that we'll be casting his ballot at around midday today.
So far, how do you assess the complaints you had about possibility of interference, say through goons or insecurity? What is your assessment so far within the first hour of voting?
Within the first hour, there's been no incidents that's been reported. I have checked with the people in Siakago around the town. I've checked with the people around Ishiara, and here, as you can see, the situation is calm, and therefore, my assumption is that if all goes well, we should get an incident-free polling day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you have any concerns about the roadblocks that have been erected along the roads?
Well, I heard the story about the roadblocks, which the particular reporter who mentioned about the roadblocks started saying that they were elected from around Mbeere, which is in Kirinyaga County, coming all the way to Embu. I think it is a good thing because if the police are serious, then they should be able to pick out any bad elements that may be coming from outside the county to come and could disrupt the process. Yeah, I think it's a good thing.
The side yesterday said that it is you in the opposition who are planning to plant goons and blame the government for it.
We have no intention of doing anything like that. In any event, as you can see, you will see here where we are. We cannot plant goons because we can almost predict the result. I have voted here since 1974, and I can tell you, I know the voting pattern. I'm very, very confident, and we have no reason to even imagine of bringing goons that could cause disruption, cause intimidation and fear, and discourage candidates voters from coming to vote.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. The Democratic Party leader, Justin Muturi, there now.
Well, that is a need to cast his vote. This is his polling station. He says that he's confident of coming out victorious. Of course, let's follow him up as he goes in to vote.
And those are live images coming to you from Mbeere North, where former Attorney General Justin Muturi is walking, are going to cast his vote there. And he is optimistic also that the exercise will continue to be smooth. But what he said earlier is on his way there, he saw young people with their IDs saying whatever it takes, we must cast our vote. And he says that is a good indicator that people, Kenyans, Kenyans finally know the strength and the power that they do have in that vote. And as you can see, that is just Justin Muturi meet and greet of those who are there to equally cast their votes. Our reporter Clement Masombo is there following that for us. And as we continue with the discussion here, and Benji, even as Justin goes to cast his vote, we were having a discussion in terms of have Kenyans finally know the power that they have in that vote, that is their voice.
You know, eventually you wise up and you realize that 200 shillings or 2,000 shillings today as a bribe, and then you suffer for years to come, especially for 5 years in a general election, obviously cannot be worth it. So yes, Kenyans are wising up. They've been through a lot. This country is a traumatized country. It's gone through a lot. But also, I was just asking before we went to the small break to listen to the former speaker, the former CS. I just wonder, you know, seeing what happened in Tanzania a few weeks ago, you know, a sham of an election. My question was to Daktari, if this happens in Kenya in 2027, in practical purposes, you know, we're on a broadcast, what will happen actually?
First, I think it will never happen in Kenya. Kenyans are more very enlightened. You saw what happened with the Gen Z uprising in 2024.
I was there in the Gen Z protest.
Yeah, so that was, I show that Kenyans now realize that they have the power in their hands.
That Kenyans would come out.
Should come out.
Yes.
But one thing disturbs me, that when a government in power with all the state machinery that they have, to use militia, to use hired goons to deal with its own citizens, it shows that the government actually has lost it. And what happens is that now there'll be breakdown of law.
Yes.
And if there is breakdown of law, I think it's very difficult to even govern. Even as a president, I think that should worry him
in
so
fact,
much.
when you talk about the Gen Z protests, when you talk about infiltration of goons, the protests eventually subsided when goons infiltrated the same.
Yes.
And it now, just from my understanding and from information that I get here and there, I guess it's a testament to the professionalism of the military, because CS Duale did deploy the military that time, but the military was just professional, patrolling, escorting, greeting Kenyans.
Yeah,
you know,
just to show that they heeded to the call of the president, because it's only the president, the commander-in-chief, who can...
but the military actually did not butter. So is that like an indicator that the military is actually professional, as people say?
I mean, all credit would go to our security officers, the military, and how they handled themselves during the
protest. But the police did butter.
But as you talk about the police, that's a different case. You know, we even have a police officer who's in the docks, and remember the case of Boniface Mwangi, who was shot and Rex Masai and many other over 60. You know? But even as we talk about that, then we look at the by-election today, and we look at how the campaigns have been. You know, so if you go to other areas, we saw violence preceding the by-election today, you know. And one would ask, we even had the utterances that political class were issuing. And one then asks the question, we have very many agencies that ought to have acted. Where is NCIC? You know, where is the police to arrest those who are giving all these utterances? You know, we look at IEBC. Why are you not speaking when these things are happening? Because like we've said, election is not an event. It is a process, and everything else that happens before the actual day of casting the vote would determine the credibility of an election, which then asks the question, the agencies that we have today, the NCICs, EACC has given its report, but then again we see an individual with questionable credential ends up being at the ballot. Are we handling it right? Are we missing the point? And how do we fix it?
Dennis, allow me to take it very briefly, because I am privy to information. The NCIC, for instance, it is my observation, has been under Kobia, who was completely out of his depth in that position. I feel there's new hope now, because the NCIC now is led, it has a new CEO. I think the commissioners are going to be staffed very soon, but the day-to-day running of the secretariat and the operations, the NCIC has a new CEO. Let me see here, his name is, and he really is now keen. Mutegi, Mr. Mutegi, is a young, millennial Gen Z who is well aware of the problems of NCIC and how it has just overseen the destruction of the fabric of society, tribalism, hate speech, all manner of, and zero consequences completely to politicians. And so when you have that kind of environment, it can only get worse, because then people have no regard for the law, they have no regard for the Constitution, ultimately they have no regard for each other. And so without that, and I said yesterday that this is IEBC's, the new IEBC's first pregnancy is today. The delivery is today.
Today.
If Ethacon fails this test, he shouldn't even consider going forward to 2027. Because this is a small election. If you cannot feed 14 kids, how can you feed 14,000 kids?
And what does this do to the country's reputation? You see,
of course,
I mean, we are comparing
damage.
ourselves to Tanzania here. The reputation is completely damaged.
Exactly.
So we need to take very good care of our reputation as a country, because if we let it go on the way it's going on, I think Kenyan reputation will completely be eroded. And the rule of law, this escalation, as we said, what happens now will be multiplied several times in 2027. And therefore, all those agencies, the NCIC, the ESCC, the DCI, all those, they need to come out clearly and be seen and be heard and actually prevent this from escalation. Because the allegation that were made by the United Opposition yesterday about the ballot stuffing they even gave the numbers of ballots. That should not happen in the present day.
Terry, on a normal day, if that allegation was given by the United Opposition of ballot stuffing, that squarely lies with the IEBC. What, in your opinion, ought to have been IEBC's response in terms of assuring Kenyans and the residents who will be casting their votes that the election will be free, fair, and credible?
You see, what Kalonzo said is that some of the ballots are not serialized. When you do not have serialized ballots, then it means that you cannot account for the ballot that you have that will be cast today. What they should have come out to do is to show us that the books that have been delivered to the polling centers are all serialized. They could have told us that. And then now invite the media, because the media is the eye of the common man, to show them exactly the kind of preparation they have done on the ground and to allay those fears.
But Doc, let me correct Dennis.
Of course, they'll deny.
My younger brother.
Yeah, they'll deny.
Your question is a little skewed, because if, let me use a different analogy. IBC was asked to open the servers in 2017. Did they open the servers?
Never.
But
did they open the servers?
Benji, hear my question.
Yes.
I am talking about an IEBC that is run by one Ethacon.
Yes.
I am speaking about a statement that was given by Kalonzo Musyoka and crew the other day. What then should these IEBC, led by a new leadership,
what can they do?
Respond to assure those who have given this statement, Kenyans, that the election will be free and fair?
But let's say, for example, because someone like Gachagua is someone who, until just last year, is a consumer of intelligence. Okay? You cannot imagine that Gachagua has. So let's just say, for instance, that there is some credibility about this ballot stuffing stuff. What do you expect him to say?
We expect IEBC, one would expect that IEBC would assure Kenyans that the elections are free and fair. And first of all, as that is their job, because IEBC, where they sit, is to assure Kenyans that the exercise that they are midwifing is free and fair. Fact that they are silent on the same, then Kenyans are asking the question and even start asking, are these allegations true? It is IEBC's job to assure Kenyans, to deny.
But you don't just give us assurance. Denying outright can also be propaganda.